is Davy Chams, coming live from DS Images Studios, bringing you different stories. If you're watching this channel for the first time, remember to subscribe, drop a comment there, and hit a like. Today I have a guest with different titles, a preacher, a mentor, and a counselor. So without further ado, allow me to let my guest introduce herself.
Hello, great people. My name is Kesh Susan, but my friends call me Kesh. Professional work name is Candy Susan, official. And I'm happy to be here on set. It's amazing even to be invited in this place. And what we'll be talking about today is something that is a really real subject out there, and something that I love to communicate and make sure that there is a great awareness out there.
Okay. Welcome to our studios. Just maybe to start with we just put it, our topic today is sexual perversion.
Yes.
And maybe just to start with it, and also for the sake of our audience, what is the meaning of this sexual perversion?
Sexual perversion is I would put it as a very wide, diverse title, because it cuts across society in something that is both grammar and touches an aspect of religion and all that. But the real meaning and the deep root meaning of sexual perversion means it comes from the root deviating from that which is normal. So we get now the word perversion or being pervert. So you find that when I deviate from that which the culture accepts and appreciates as normal, what the religion in terms now of spirituality, faith, appreciate as normal, where academics, where normal to science accept as normal, and then I begin to initiate something that is totally different from what is accepted from all those angles, then I'm deviating, and that's what we call perversion.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe just to ask, for the sake of audience, what are some of these causes of sexual perversion? Maybe.
Okay, sexual perversion, we have a list of them, by the way. One, I'm a Christian, and probably other faiths. That's why when I was speaking about the word perversion coming from the dimension of diverting from that which the society appreciates as normal, the Christian society has the aspect of believing in God, and one of the cause of perversion is when men decide to live in ungodliness, when they turn away from God. So forgetting that there is a supreme being, and deciding to live by my own life. And this is what I want to live, not under the guidance of things that I'll put it as God has ordained me and has instructed me to live by. So ungodliness is number one reason of perversion. We find that it brings the aspect of lawlessness, because I don't have that inward fear. I don't regard, the way they say it's my life. I'm not answerable to anyone. I'm not answerable to any supreme being. So that is number one. Number two, the cause of perversion is things that happened probably at a very young age. For example, things like rape. Rape is one of the great causes that causes perversion. You find that psychologically, because of the torture that was input upon this person that went through this situation, them releasing that way, they become reckless. Let me put it that way, they become reckless, and then now it deviates to perversion. They find that because, let's say I was abused at the age of 10, and I don't know how to deal with that, and probably I never spoke to anyone, I never went for counseling session, so we call it bottling. It is inside me. I don't speak it out. But now, the way how I will make sure it's out there, it's by my lifestyle. So I will turn to strange ways of sexual activities. Let's say example of lesbianism. You've heard people say that, quote unquote, men are dogs.
Yeah.
When you follow that statement, you get to know that this girl at some point probably went through a torment, a certain abuse. So they won't come openly and say, I was raped, and hey guys, I want solution, or seek solution. We really appreciate them that, have reached out and have said, but this is what I went through and I need help. But there are those who still bottle up. So you find some turn to lesbianism, some turn to be gays, just to satisfy the fact that, like, self-satisfaction. I'm a lesbian because a man took advantage of me. So for me, girls are good.
Okay.
I can do women.
So it grows. They grow with it in their life.
Yes.
Maybe if you are defiled, like you hear someone saying, I was defiled at 9, maybe at 10 or 15. So it grows with them.
It grows with them.
Reach a point where they turn their life, sexual life.
Yes. So their sexual life begins now taking a certain direction against the normal. And the justification is, I went through a certain... Let me even give it a different meaning from... I'm a different look at it from even rape as rape, but having to... Let me speak about it from the angle of general abuse. I can grow from a family of a narcissist. If my father was a narcissist, I can also. Yeah. So if I went through a tormenting situation when I was young, or even generally, even with my age, I can go through something and it affects me emotionally, mentally, and then adds something, turns me towards that path we're talking about, against the normal. Then the other cause is drugs and substance abuse. Of course, with drugs, we defined what a drug is back in school. We say it's anything that you take and it alters the normal functioning of the body.
Yeah.
So that should tell me that when I take a pill or generally anything, more so what we know now, drugs to be the bang, the not over the counter, these pharmaceutical, not those ones, the bang, the cocaine, alcohol. Well, the moment I take that, it alters the normal functioning of the body.
Yeah.
In other words, I mean that now it's no longer me. Something else now is acting. So with that, you find that, let's say in a setup of clubs, in a clubbing or after the rave and the party and all that, the people who come after that, they regret.
Yeah.
There's a song that they sang, Wanijana Kuliendaje.
Yes.
What happened, I cannot remember. By the time I'm realizing I'm infected with diseases, I cannot even... I'm not sure who, we ended up having sexual intercourse with them. Even now, how it is in that state that I realized, kumbe I was with a guy and I'm a guy yesterday. Those kind of things. Okay. So drugs and substance abuse. We have so many, we have a list of them, but I believe those are the major. And maybe I can mention the last one. Another cause that is so diverse, a cause that, in line with what you're talking about, I would put it as arousing love before it's time. And this is what is happening in our high schools and schools. There's a scripture in the Bible whereby it says, do not arouse love before it's time. So you find that somebody at the age of 9 in our generation knows so much about love. Now you see, this love is not the agape. This is the eros. We have classes of love, because I love you, but I love you in an agape way. Yeah. What the love that is, we can't be here and I don't love you. All right, I cannot be talking to our viewers and I don't love them. True. So love is a very general, but we're talking about the erotic one, yes. The erotic one, whereby the female and the male are attracted. You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah. So you find that this erotic love is aroused at a very young age. Look at our media houses. Yeah. We advertise things using sexual activities, including soap, including oil, something that, cooking oil. What does cooking oil, what is the relationship between sex and cooking oil? But now, it shows a dimension of a perverse mind And if I portray a sexual figure, come with that bottle, say, guys, this, when you cook with this, the food will be tasty.
No one will look at it.
No one will look at it.
Yeah.
But let me just have a girl dressed funny. I will be like, I want to.
And even on the internet, many people want to. Someone want to.
I want to watch that.
Yeah,
so you find curiosity. Our movies. I was dealing, I think 2 weeks ago, with a case of a child that was found watching pornography, but this pornography was animated. Cartoon.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this child was innocently watching.
Innocently watching. But when the parents stood, you know, the way you can find a child watching, and then you stand to just 2 minutes of watching, like, this content is so detailed.
Yeah.
So what is happening to that child? At a very young age, you're introducing perversion.
Okay.
Because this child has no, you're not giving this room to it. You see, sex is an education, and there is an orientation to it. If I'm oriented negatively, I will turn to be perverted.
Yeah.
And that is why I think it's very important to have this kind of communication.
Yeah.
Big up to Dave to be so bold to have this kind of, because we have a society there that, you know, what happened when you're growing up? What did our parents say? Teaching about sex, your teacher will teach you.
Yeah, true. Your teacher will teach in school.
They will not have the confidence of sitting, leave alone teaching, naming your body parts.
Exactly.
They have strange names.
It was like a taboo.
A taboo.
Yeah.
But now you're leaving the child to learn it somewhere.
True.
As a mother, Kiswahili is something, if you don't learn it at home, the society will teach you. And actually, we're seeing how the society, the communities are very good teacher. A very good teacher.
Asiyefunzwa na mamake.
Watafunzwa na ulimwengu. They deal to na, you know, things happening, including even now, even our topic. If I don't introduce sex, the knowledge of sex, it's not shameful.
Yeah, true.
The education, sex education to my child, the way I want it, the way I would love him or her to know it. When she's an adolescent, she starts misbehaving. Before even point fingers to anybody else, I should sit myself down and ask myself, how was she or he introduced to sex? Because I'm supposed to be her first teacher. I'm a teacher professionally. And in classroom, we see many things. And when we go back to the parents, they're like, like, by the time the child is doing it in school, it seems there is something wrong with you as a parent, because you are her first teacher even before you. I'm a stranger. You're paying me to do it, to teach general subjects. You know, you're not directly paying me to teach sex. So this is something that should come up. So in our high schools, in our our clothes, when you just come out of this place and stand somewhere on the road, you see the dress code. So everything is sexualized and all that. So that level also causes sexual perversion.
And also, maybe just, okay, we have people outside there suffering, like silently, people are unable to talk, they don't know how to express it, like, even before we move there, what are some of the signs or symptoms of this perversion sexual perversion?
Sexual perversion.
Yeah.
Number one, there is always that instinct in someone when you begin doing something that is diverted from the normal. Even when you don't open spiritual books, or there is just that inward thing. Today, if I steal, you don't need you to quote that the book of, you know, Exodus chapter 20 says, "Thou shalt not steal." God already put that inward seed in me to tell me anytime, you know, the knowledge of good and evil. The knowledge. So when I get to a place and I no longer differentiate, it's no longer a bother. In fact, I'm wondering what's your problem. You know that there is a cloth. Even
you see everything like normal.
It's okay. It's okay. I will do things, but you know, for me it's okay. So when I lose that touch of, you know, the knowledge of good and evil, then it shows that I'm moving towards the direction of sexual perversion.
Okay.
Yes.
And there was an argument some times back at some point that homosexual is not part of perversion, sexual perversion. What's your take?
We defined what's our topic?
Okay.
His word.
Sexual
Perversion.
Yes.
We defined perversion as deviating from that which is normal. So the way God created human beings naturally, even look at dogs.
Yeah.
The way they behave, the way they mate, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Because from my field, we speak this way. We have seen a gap in a society of trying to kupaka blue band sana kwa conversation. I will just meet some dog somewhere meeting.
Yes.
You will not see kuna he dog ama zote ni dog. The male dog and the male dog. Just from the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
Look at the easy jogo. You don't see two jogos from the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
So what is this that where we redefine ourselves to get attracted to the same sex? Then it tells me that I'm deviating from that which is normal, that which is the pattern from how it was supposed to be. Because I can learn easily from the animal kingdom. So yes, homosexuality is a high gear of perversion, sexual perversion.
Okay.
Yes. Even when you refer back to scripture, God did not deal lightly with homosexuality in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. God gave them time, but they did not repent, and God had to, like, it is very annoying. Homosexuality is very annoying because it is defilement. It is an insult, literally. Yes.
True. Wow. Another thing is like in our society.
Yes.
Do people talk about this sexual perversion like any other thing? Do people discuss about it?
People in our society generally do not. And if they do, I will say that there's some. I want to big up a few who have. I can't say that completely. We don't have people who speak about these things, but we have a few. But now, largely, let me start with the family setup. Parents, they don't. In fact, number one, they're very busy. So the child is left to learn sex from internet, peers, and all that. Come now to the religious setup. When we preach, I'm a preacher. When you preach, we put it. We have those very, very calm conversations. We don't rebuke. We don't say this and this is wrong. We want to say it's okay. I have this statement: come as you are. Come to church. Come to faith the way you are. So no problem. No one is kicked out. And by the way, as we continue this conversation, it's good even to have our viewers know that we are not having this conversation on the angle of stigmatizing or bullying anyone. We are having this conversation towards the direction of seeking help and finding a solution in this matter, because so many people are born and were born and will be born in it. So in case I'm in that field, I'm struggling with one area, I should not feel as if I'm being attacked. Yes, it's good to know that. So the society is, but largely it's not. So we are having teenagers, we are having actually everyone to learn and discover things on themselves. And then thank you for the few people who are bold enough to speak about these things.
Yeah, and also in our society today, these things starts at a very early age.
Yes. Like
especially in our institutions, especially schools, kids starts it very early.
Yes.
What is your take? What is your advice? Like you said, because some of it's obvious, some of the parents are not always there. Are not only, and that bond between the parent and this child is not always there for some parents. So what's your take on that? Like, what's your advice?
Towards children.
Towards children versus parents. Some parents don't have time for their children. Understand?
Yes. I think.
Yes.
Parents, it's supposed to be intentional. There are things that we can negotiate about. there are things that we cannot negotiate. For example, matter sex, we cannot leave to check the way or table manners.
Yeah.
So if I'm very detailed with how my child dresses or presents themselves, I must also be careful to know very well that they are living well in the path of in the journey of understanding themselves sexually and all that. So this matter, we have no choice. Parents must be present in the lives of their children, and I will put it this way: adults.
Adults, okay.
So that when in school, the parent is not with us.
True.
So I'm the one with the child. I should not see a certain behavior in class or in the matatu and then I'm silent about it. I love the days that we used to, when we grew up, when we were growing up, sorry, and we used to be an adult. It's an adult male that used to be your father.
Oh yeah, adult male. Yeah, you look at that figure. Sorry.
It's okay. An adult female used to be your mother.
True.
And anywhere they will correct you.
Yeah, wherever you go wrong, even in a bus, they will tell you.
Kijana wewe.
Yes.
They will correct you. So okay. I will say that. Thank you.
Okay, now maybe to just ask this. What are these some ways of pulling out from being sexual perversion? What are these ways? Like, what are these mechanisms that can make someone pull out of this sexual perversion?
Yeah, the solution, please.
The solution, let's put it so.
Yes. Number one, I believe the solution part from the spiritual angle, we started by saying that there is a certain order in terms of sexuality that is placed divinely. Is placed divinely. In other words, there is kuna wiring. Alright? Wiring, the way they convey about the animal kingdom.
Yes.
It's a wiring. And this wiring is God who wired. So how the solution of coming out of sexual perversion, number one, even before we go to any psychological or any emotional thing, it's first turning back to God.
Okay. Exactly.
Turning back to God.
Yeah.
It seems the moment I've diverted to be sexually perverted, I have left the proper wiring. Unajua wiring, the way you will wire the house and
yes, exactly.
the bulb will or the light will come the way it's supposed to be.
In a correct way.
In a correct way.
Yeah.
So the moment I do my wiring and it's dark, there is something wrong about my wiring.
Exactly.
We took actually another deep word meaning of perversion actually is darkness. There is no light into it. It's dark.
Living in dark world.
Exactly. Or in darkness. The way you can live in. It tells me there is something wrong with the wiring. So the moment I desire to pull out from perversion, I'm desiring to be correctly wired. Because I at some point I became wrongly wired. So number one is turning back to God. And it's a simple, believe in your heart and confess with the mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord. And then from there, number two, when I'm right with God and I have, the way you can speak out to God, I have openly, you don't need someone to lay hands, to spill oil or, you can directly speak to God concerning the matter.
And speak out your mind to God.
God, this is my suffering.
Yeah.
This is my, I've tried. There is what you call, relapse. You find somebody who wants to try something and then they relapse back. They leave something for 2 months and then after that month, they relapse back. That way, you openly speak to God. I believe that God has helped many.
Yeah, true.
And is willing.
True.
He's the originator, he's the creator. He has no problem reordering back the set. Number two, when I've done that, I need to walk with somebody. We're talking about pulling away from perversion. So let's say I've been struggling with something like masturbation. Exactly. Because masturbation, I was not wired to sexually gratify myself like that.
Yeah.
So it's a perverted root.
It was wrongly wired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's anything. Perversion is anything that I try out of, because the normal way it's a male and a female. That's
normal.
That's the normal.
Yeah.
So anything away from that
is ungodly.
Is ungodly, and is what we call now darkness. Is wicked. Is evil. Is negative. Is what you're calling being wrongly wired. So number 2, after I've done that, I need to work with somebody. A counselor. If you are in the faith setup, look for a spiritual authority who will journey with you, a big brother, a big sister, a good friend, morally upright.
Not just anyone.
There are people who encourage each other. Abuda tunapitia hata mimi. Hata tunasumbua tunapitia, you know. So there is a joke of an oil product. Ni vile ni brand name, just a Twist Choma.
Twist Choma, yeah.
You know, people encourage themselves.
That
And even they're happy that now wametoa the bigger one. They're happy that now it's no longer.
Yes.
So
if
working with that kind of person, they encourage you. You will never get out of this bondage.
Yeah, true.
So identify somebody that is morally upright.
Yeah.
And you can have this person else, but as long as both of you are like-minded and you desire, you are tired of the situation, you desire both of you to do what? To come out. In that way you can, it's okay to walk with them. But if they are happily in it, that now you will be trying and then they will be mocking you. You have done this thing for years, why are you trying to leave this thing out? So work with somebody, identify a coach, identify a counselor. We have so many people online that morally they have a track record. People like I follow him. He's called Benjamin Zulu.
Oh yes, I know him.
Yes, Benjamin Zulu. One of these days, I would love him to come on site.
Yeah.
Benjamin, kona to watch tafadhali.
Kuja.
We have people like Benjamin Zulu. We have people like Apostle Tim Wangi. That's my personal mentor.
Oh, Tim Wangi. In fact, I spoke to him like 3 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
People like Mr. T. I sit on the council of Mr. T. We have great pastors, great teachers, counselors come now professionally. Amani Institutes ikona great counselors.
Yeah.
You know, so seek help. That's what I'm talking about. Because perversion has something to do, has a tendency to hide in secrecy. One, because it's shameful.
It's a stigma kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do I come out unless I'm now, my wiring now is easy, leave alone being bad. It's terrible.
It's terrible, yeah.
I cannot come publicly and then I tell you guys, hey manzi, me at night I cannot sleep without watching a pornography.
Yeah.
I will want to keep that to myself. In fact, if you take my phone, it has all the passwords. Yes. And I will be, the moment you take my phone, I'll be like, hey, I will not be quickly comfortable if you know the way you can have someone's phone and you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you find that there is that aspect. But at the end of the day, I must ensure that I don't hide, I don't keep it a secret. Maybe I should not. Of course, I should not tell the whole world. I'm struggling with lesbianism. I'm struggling with masturbation. I'm struggling with pornography. I'm struggling with bestiality. That is sex with animals. In a family setup, I'm having sex with a family member. That's incest. So I may not be bold enough to have this conversation because we have people who are not mature enough. They will stigma. They will not show me a path out of it in terms of giving me solution, but they will begin either to wajitenge na mimi, or they will begin to stigmatize. And there is not, the intention of speaking out was not to have my name circulating in the set that this is the guy who does this and that.
In fact, that's always the fear.
The fear, exactly.
Because if I speak out my mind, people know, oh, this guy kumbe ananyonga. This guy kumbe is this type.
Exactly. Or how will you view me after this?
Yes.
You see, when I go to hospital and I tell the doctor that I have malaria, I don't feel ashamed that I have malaria. I don't feel,
because it's
even when I'm found with HIV, so even if I'm HIV positive, before a doctor, I don't feel, I don't feel stigmatized. I don't feel like I should hide this thing before my doctor.
Yeah.
Even when it's a reproductive issue, let's say syphilis.
Yeah.
I don't feel fear. I'm not afraid to have the doctor diagnose me. I come for treatment. If there are injections, if there are pills, if there are, I'm not afraid of removing my clothes, nakedness generally, before my doctor. So I should find, but I can't do that to anybody. To the soldier, hapo mbele ya gate ya hospitali. I must go in the inner chambers where the doctor is, because that's the person I have confidence with.
Exactly.
So even when you come to this matter, I need to identify that doctor of mine that I will not be afraid of, being real. I will not be afraid of telling this person that I have something with adultery. For me, manze day my zipita hivyo. Na sasa squeeze even it's not even ladies. We ladies, we find that it's something, it's a perversion whereby I'm a sex addict. Per day I can have sex with 5 men. Now, but the day that doesn't happen, it turns out to be maybe an emotional trauma. I miss nothing because I feel like I miss something. Why? Because it's now an addiction. The way I can't live without. So it becomes now an addiction. So I need to work with someone, and I work with someone. So
this thing, like, there's some young people. Let me just say, generally people, like even adults,
yes,
who are just in front of. If they don't have sex like oftenly, they will not feel like life is normal. Is that addictive thing? Is that addict? Like
addiction?
Yes, addiction. Is it addiction? What's your take on that?
We have
many people,
especially
young people who are very much active. They will want to have sex with so many multiple partners. Is that addiction?
Yes. Now the addiction is caused by indiscipline and ungodliness, of course. You remember where we started?
Yeah.
So if I don't have fear, and this fear is not at the moment you mention God, I start trembling. It's the reverence. Let me quote a scripture in the book of Genesis. There was this character called Joseph. And the house that Joseph used to work was the house of Potiphar. Now Potiphar's wife wanted to have sexual activities with this man. But there is one thing that I love about Joseph. He said, how can I do this thing against my God? Now remember, God physically, in terms of this is God, the way you can see this chair, that was not, it wasn't, that God wasn't there in terms of that. But because the Bible says that God is spirit. And if you want to commune with him, you commune with him from the spiritual angle and all that. But the man said, how can I do this thing against my God? In that house, he was alone with Potiphar's wife. Potiphar was not there. And I'm so sure this woman was ready to keep it a secret. And probably not that the only, but frequently.
Okay.
So how probably if it's our age, this man will have free sexual favors.
Exactly.
With a very beautiful woman. In fact, the wife of your boss. And mind you, Potiphar had given everything in charge of Joseph apart from his wife. But in this case, Joseph now could be in charge even of his wife. Mahali Potiphar kwa amefikisha you're in charge, angekuwa amefika. But Joseph turned and said, how can I do this thing against my God? So when I have that reverence, our young people, that is our generation generally, we have 60-year-old who are doing Silawas Ponyo.
Yes.
Exactly. So we are not talking about any, we have spoken about our kids at class with age 7. We have sponsors at 70 years old. We have made 60s, 40, 30, 20, and that kind of thing. The thing is, the fear of God is lost. And if that is not restored, then we'll continue to have a generation whereby things will be chaotic. Because it's the fear of God, it's the reverence, Even when there is no policeman, even when there is no pastor to watch me, even when we don't have counselors to remind me, we keep, from the last page, our last discussion, are you still on with what we discussed? You know, I can disobey a counselor, but when I walk with the consciousness of God, there is a place I can't go. I will speak like Joseph. How can I do this thing against my God? Yes, so that is number one. And then the reverence of God, and then number two, this thing began at a very young age. A very young age.
Yeah.
Whereby we are having our kids in campus. But this kid began nyuma ya mlango. Akiwa class 3.
Yes. Just playfully.
Playfully.
Yeah.
Na hakuna mtu alimention this something. Na kama ulimention what we like our generation tulikuwa tunachapwa.
Yeah.
But hiyo kuchapwa tukalishi chini tuambiwe mungepatikana huko nyuma ya mlango kisi mngechapwa mercilessly.
Yes, unauliza unafanya nini ya.
But now what hiyo kuchapwa mercilessly partly ni poor, but what it did, it turned out that now this thing tukipatikana tutachapwa. So what do? We do it. We do it. Not that we stop doing it. We do it, but now with cautiousness. Does it help? No. So we keep on sneaking here. Time mwalimu ameenda, but that's not the solution where we want the solution that we seek. We want, even though I am not there, the child can tell himself or herself, I cannot do it. Like Joseph, I cannot do this thing against my God because it is wrong, because I can get sexually transmitted infections, because I'm ruining my future if I get pregnant. You know, the self-confident values that I will have, that I don't need anyone to police me. So we are having a generation whereby people will hide. That's why you find it come at the sponyo thing.
Yeah.
They won't do it openly.
Secret.
But they will book hotels, secret hotels. Even hotels out of the county and all that. So the seed that was planted that was not dealt with at a very young age now grows with the man until the man is 70. Grows with the woman until the woman is 70, still dealing with bentens of 20 years old boys. So it's something that it didn't happen. It's very hard to find someone who has been who has valued sexually by the age of you know, that has grown with the values, missing it, you know, diverting up there. But if someone is diverting in a certain age, it means this thing was still present. It is in this specific setup that is now manifesting.
Okay. Do you think, you know, in our society today,
yes,
young people are very much affected by, especially this sexual perversion thing. Do you think the internet plays a major role of contributing?
Oh, of course. When you watch a specific clip, let's say a football clip, the advert that comes next, click here.
Yes.
It connects you back to a sexual clip. Sexual clips pop out on YouTube like this. Even yours, you find that some hackers will try to put something in between them. Yeah. If you're not careful with what you, like, you know, most of us who work in the media, you will shoot your video and then you will put it out there. But we have people who they will sneak things in between.
Just to spoil it.
Just to spoil it. So the internet has with one click you can access pornography. With as low as 5 MB. You can access photographic pornographic photos, nudes, right? With 20 MB you can access clips, and the pornographic business, it has invested in the destruction of our people. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, very true.
One day my mentor was helping us understand the survey. You know, saying we have so many pornographic sites that in Kenya, everybody, including the children, everyone can be given their own site without sharing. Itatosha the whole Kenya, and will have half of Tanzania given. We will donate the sites, other sites.
Because there are so many.
There are so many. You can imagine if every Kenyan has a sexual site.
That's a disaster.
Now that's our society. I can watch pornography in Nigeria, pornography Caribbean. You know, it's so diverse. And now pornography, you cannot watch pornography and then it ends there. Pornography introduces masturbation.
Yeah, true.
Masturbation now we are heading now towards lust. I will want to make it practical. Now I'm now in the bondage of pornography. I'm now in the bondage of masturbation. And the moment I'm watching that, it continues to corrupt my spirit, my mind. Generally, even with men, it brings the low sperm count thing. Find that even now in a married setup, mtu aperform unashanga what happened? So mtu amekuwa kinyonga chini ya maji. Chetu yeke hivyo.
Yeah.
Unaget? So if you're watching that, you are defiled, you are thinking about sex. Our normal Alejandro and
yes. Those programs.
Those programs
on TV.
Exactly. So the internet, yes, the internet has played a very major role in introducing sexual perversion. Actually, it's one of the tools that the enemy is using against the country, against the people nationally. Let me put it as the human race.
Yeah, but now the problem is, yes. Parents will spoil our kids by making them access these gadgets. Like you find maybe a child is 5 years or 6 years, is given a phone, yeah, playing with a phone.
Yes.
A parent giving the child you watch cartoon, if they're in the car driving to some long distance, they'll give a child access the phone. So through that,
yes,
it will spoil the child.
Yes.
And then also even the laptops, yeah, they are given to children.
Yes.
So parents have kind of spoil the children, the kids, by giving them these gadgets.
Correct.
Yeah. So what are these mechanism, prevention mechanism that can cap this internet story to contribute towards playing big major role in this sexual perversion? What are these mechanisms? What do you think parents should do? Do they avoid giving gadgets to their children?
We are living in an internet age. It may be difficult to say no completely to internet, because internet also has positive positive values that when it comes to the aspect of education learning. Sisi to go to the library just to look for a very useless word, English useless word.
Yeah.
But it's just a click away. A click away and you get the word. Yeah. Everything you call internet.
Yeah.
So what I can say is that the parents need to be, and when I say parents, is any person that is an adult.
Yeah.
But starting with the biological ones. So every time I'm around myself, I'm around a child, I'm more cautious of even what myself I'm playing. It can be a very innocent song, a trendy song that you're checking online. But for you your mind is guarded. Probably it's a trend. Also, us public speakers, we really need to gather a lot of content. You need to be informed what is happening in Tanzania, what is happening, what is happening. I'm also in the music industry. I need to understand. We say you understand the demons you're dealing with, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
So when I'm in that space, I avoid playing, including the Alejandro. They can look very innocent. The Alejandro movies,
yeah.
our normal African movies,
especially this love
exactly.
songs.
But you see, it looks very innocent.
Yeah.
For me, I can watch Alejandro kissing, and okay, let's go. But when a child watches that, it sticks. It registers something different, and they will go practice it somewhere. They must practice it somewhere.
Because they saw it.
Because they saw it. Their mind is so open to learn, more so in the, the age between 1 to 10. It's like an empty vessel. And that's the age that we shape people, we shape personality, we shape discipline, character. We find that some people are very they are faith oriented. They like, for me, I grew up in Sunday school, in church. And so you find even most of my conversations, I will still go back to what the Bible says and what God says, because my parents took advantage of the 10 years growing up, and that's what they instilled. So you see, the scripture says, train up a child in the ways of the Lord. And actually, train up a child in any way, any other way, and they will not depart in the way that you train them, not just in the ways of the Lord. If you train up a child in the ways of theft, that child might die still, because at a very young age, those are the values that you instilled.
And it's nailed there permanently.
Exactly. Yes. So I believe that's what I can say concerning the matter.
Okay. Now maybe before we wind up, right now as we speak, there's so many people. I've had so many interviews, so many talks about people going through a lot, especially the rape case. Someone was defiled, cannot speak out, cannot they are confused. They don't know what to do. Yeah, they have not even forgiven the perpetrators.
Yes,
they remain with that stigma. They remain with that pain forever. What do you tell them, such people?
I will say that bitterness and unforgiveness. That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
Bitterness and forgiveness is one of the major tools that opens a lot against you. It's ironic to imagine that you can pick a coal of fire and then place on my head to hurt you. It is me that it will hurt. So bitterness and unforgiveness, even before I think of this, it is this person that made me feel this way. Fine. Number one, acceptance. It happened. It's a bitter truth. There is something about time that we can only work with what we have and where we are headed. That's what I can change. But what happened, unfortunately, there's nothing much that I can do.
Okay.
So I need to accept that it happened, number one. And then number two, understand the whole aspect. It's good to be educated about the whole subject of forgiveness and bitterness, because there is a dimension, there is a level of bitterness that I can grow in, that even it brings now physical disease, leave alone the depression, physical disease. Like, do you know bitterness eats up your bones?
Yeah, true.
Physical
bitterness. Okay.
Bitterness, arthritis. One of the causes of arthritis is bitterness and unforgiveness. There are so many diseases that their origin, see, germs and bacteria, very strange, including Vitukama cancer, very strange things. They develop because you begin to alter the normal functioning of the body. When I'm so angry and my body is very, when my whole being from the inner man, because this is actually a shell. The real me is
inside you.
Inside. Not exactly, okay, but let's use that, because man is both body, spirit, and soul. So where does unforgiveness and bitterness and anger comes from? Or where is it? Where do I feel the anger? And it's in the soul. It's in the soul, and the components of my soul, my mind, my heart, and my will. My mind is my faculty of meditation. I don't think with my brain. My brain is in my body. The doctors cannot operate my mind. Doctors operate my brain.
Okay.
Alright? So everything in the body, it's handled in the body way. Now we come now to the inner man, what we call now the soul and the spirit. The soul is whereby we have now what I'm calling the faculty of meditation and thoughts. That's the mind. And then we have the heart. Now hii heart ya pump down, because in a pump down we call body. That's why we have heart surgery. I cannot have a surgery by a knife on that heart that is in the soul. I only need some intervention that is not necessarily, does not necessarily need a knife or something.